Okay, in our A-level statistics today, we are going to be dealing with what we refer to as permutation and combination. Permutation and combination. So in this topic today, we are going to be learning some aspects of what we refer to as factorial and some aspect of kind of permutation we have. Well, let's go to the course outline and see what we have. Coming out to the course outline, in our course outline, we are going to be learning about what we refer to as factorial, what we call permutation and combination, repeated members, cyclic permutation, conditional permutation, and also we are going to solve some past questions relating to permutation and combination. So before we start, my name is the Ambassador, and you're welcome to my class. So starting with the very first thing we have, is referred to as factorial. Now a quick one, what is factorial? Basically, factorial is always known for this symbol. Anytime we're talking about factorial, in mathematics, factorial is symbolized as like an exclamation mark. Anytime you see an exclamation mark, it's always referred to as factorial in statistics. For instance, let us may have 2 factorial. Now, the function of this, we are saying it means that I'm going to have 2 factorial multiplied by 1. Let us assume I have 3 factorial. Each 3 factorial is going to be reducing by 1, and by multiplying that, that's 3 times 2 times 1. They are referred to as 3 factorial. But let's also go to what we have. According to the definition of factorial, what is the meaning of factorial? It is written down here that factorial is the multiplication of reduction by 1 of a particular term. Now, a quick example is what we have here. At this side, we have n factorial. And for me to express that as an illustration, probably I have n factorial. It means that I'm going to be reducing the n factorial by 1, but while I'm reducing that, I'm going to be multiplying it to one another. For instance, I can say n in bracket n minus 1 factorial. Can you see? I can go further by reducing again n minus 1, then n minus 2 factorial. I can go further by the reduction n, then n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3 factorial. Okay, let's try one more. We can have n in bracket n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, then n minus 4 factorial. So this is how we represent factorial. So a quick one, let's give an example that involves factorial. Let's assume I have 5 factorial for an instance. So for me to have 5 factorial, it means 5 multiplied by 4, and that 5 multiplied by 3, then 2, then 1. So this is how you write 5 factorial. So we have 4, 3, 2, then 1. So when you try to multiply this, 5 times 4 is 20, 20 times 3 is 120, 120 times 2 is 240 ways. 240 ways. So that means I can write this as writing it as what? 240 if I'm dealing with what? 5 factorial. Okay, let's go to examples and see what we have. Okay, coming down to examples of factorial. We have to find the factorial of the following. The first one we have is 7 factorial. So how do we do 7 factorial? Like I said, you have to reduce by 1, then multiplying it. So I'm going to have 7 multiplied by 6, multiplied by 5, multiplied by 4, multiplied by 3, multiplied by 2, then multiplied by 1. So with the help of calculator, we can punch this by 7 times 4, 7 times 5, 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2, then multiply by 1. So this is 5,040 ways. So that's what it's going to give us if you are dealing with 7 factorial, which is 5,040 ways. So let's consider another example. Another example we have here is 8 factorial divided by 4 factorial. So we have 8 factorial divided by what? 4 factorial. So how do you do this? In doing this, it means you're going to multiply by 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 factorial all over 4 factorial. Now the question is, why would I have to end at 4 factorial? The reason I have to end at 4 factorial is because I can actually cancel out the 4 factorial. So since I've cancelled out the 4 factorial, I'm going to be left with 8 times 7 times 6 then 5. So in doing this, with the help of our calculator, when trying to multiply 8 multiplied by 7, then multiply by 6, then multiply by 5, it's going to give us 1680. So we have 1680. So let's look at the last example. Looking at the last example, we have 6 factorial divided by 3 factorial divided by 2 factorial. So that means 6 factorial all over 3 factorial then 2 factorial. So the way we can do this, like I do tell you, you have to write this 6 till you get to 3, which is the highest. So in doing that, I'm going to have 6 times 5 times 4, then we stop at 3 factorial all over 3 factorial then 2 factorial. So in this case, we can see that 3 can cancel out the 3 factorial. But remember that when we talk about 2 factorial, that means that's 2 times 1, and that's still 2. So that means 2 factorial means what? 2. So in doing that, I can say that my 2 here is 1, my 2 here is 2. So I'll be left with just 6 multiplied by 5 times 2 times 1. So when you say 6 multiplied by 5 times 2 times 1. So 6 times 5 will give you 30. So 30 times 2 will give you 60. That's 60. So this is how we use factorial in solving questions.